a Richard of all trades has cast a bunch of owl wind chimes, and he doesn't have any woodworking tools, and aluminum is suitable for cutting with woodworking tools. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cleaning up these edges. First, I'm gonna try using the scroll saw and get the edges close. And once they're close, then I'm going to use a file to do a finish cleanup. But before I do any of that, I'm going to clean my largely unused scroll saw. This is not a tool I use regularly. I thought I was going to use it much more than I do when I purchased it, but it doesn't get used that often. But it's a good tool, so I keep it. And we will start with that. That's much better. Yeah, this stinks. This isn't going to work out. Even though supposedly woodworking tools cut aluminum, it ain't doing diddly for this. So we're going to go to plan B. Okay, we're going to try to use a Dremel. Now, let's see how that works. Well, that is one down. Seven done, 7 to go. It's looking pretty good, but I think I need to do something about the backs. They're kind of sharp. I tried using the Dremel on one of them, and it wasn't quite what I wanted. So I think I'm going to use a wire brush. We're going to try at first a brass one, and if that doesn't work too well, then we will use steel. But the first trick is to make sure we drill out all the holes first, because they'll be sharp too. I have two different wire brushes. I got a steel one here. It's probably stainless steel. And then I got this one here that is colored like brass, but I'm not completely convinced it's brass. Kind of feels like the same rigidity as steel, so. But I'm going to try this one first. I've been told that the brass will not do the job, but I don't want to go overboard with it yet, so let me start with this one. Well, that seems to have done the job. It's not sharp edges anymore. It's not exactly rounded over, but it's, you know, you can comfortably rub your thumb against it and not cut yourself. I sprayed 2 coats of lacquer on these, and I'm going to also paint these designs in here. I'm going to do that blue, which will match the originals. See, this is the original color scheme here. And but I'm going to do that after this lacquer has a chance to cure, and then maybe this afternoon or tomorrow. In the meantime, I have one bell for me, but I need to make another bell for Richard of all trades, so I bought a piece of 4x4. It's going to be a little on the small side, but I think it'll be fine. And you know, you can't get a 4x4 in a 4-foot length or shorter. You gotta pay the whole shooting match, so we'll do that. Okay, I got this blank mounted up. I got a worm screw on this side, and I'm holding it together with the live center on the other side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to round it, and once it's round, I'm going to mark for a tenon on this side and turn it around and make the shape. This is the first time I've made a bell, so we'll see how all that works out. So I made this bell to cast. Pine is a bit of a pain in the neck to turn on the lathe. It likes to chip up on the sharp edges. So I got some patches in here, like that's actually CA glue that I built up. But I think it's going to do fine. It's a little smaller than the original, but I think it's going to do what it needs to do. I am now painting the backs and sides of the owls, and it makes a nice effect. The sides get painted. It's not perfect, but it's good enough, I think. And then what I will do is that I will paint the reliefs as well. So I've painted all the backs a nice royal blue, and by doing that, the edges got painted, and through holes to the eyes got painted. So it looks really nice, but I want to also have this design here painted blue. So what I've done, rather than trying to match paint, I sprayed some of the spray paint into this little cup. And I got this little brush, and is it in the camera shot? There it is. I got this little brush, and I didn't spray a lot into there. And all I'm going to do is just fill in the cracks. Now, the thing is that since this was cast from another one, some of the details are lost. Some of the finer details are lost just because that's the nature of that beast. So it's not going to be as nice as the original, but it's still going to be all right. You know, this brush is actually a little too thick for this job, and my eyesight is a little too poor for it. But it's going to come out all right, I think. There we go. And then the major stem here. So what you can do is just follow that line all the way up. Oh, ran out of paint. There we go. So there we go. So now the other thing I want to do is, because some of the edges didn't quite get paint, I'm just going to hit those edges at the same time. Make sure that everything looks nice and beautiful. And this one is done, set aside, and go on to the next one. Individually, they don't look that great, but as a collection, they look pretty good, in my opinion. So what I'm going to do is put a final coat of lacquer on top once the paint has dried, because that's just how I roll, baby. Okay, so we got the original bell that I had for the wind chimes. Or my wife had, actually. I made the emergency backup imitation bell for Richard of all trades, and we have chimes for Richard of all trades to do. And set those aside. Now, I believe he's going to cast a aluminum bell for hanging his chimes, and then we've got the chimes separated for us. I'm going to use the same black thread that I used on the last wind chime project. And like I said, I picked that up at a Army-Navy store, and I believe it was parachute cord. It might not have been. But it's narrow enough that it's going to fit through these holes relatively easily. The downside is that fit through these holes relatively easily. The downside is that since it's that narrow, I'm going to have to tie them off in such a way that they don't come loose. So I will experiment with that, and then we will proceed as needed. Now, as I did with the last wind chime project, I'm just going to put a little bit of super glue on each one of these knots to hold the knot together so they don't come untied. It doesn't take a lot, but it helps. And then, because I'm lazy and I don't want to wait, just spray it with some activator. And here we go. Actually, it's pretty amazing. It sounds pretty darn good. Let's see here. Do some adjustments. Look at that. It's almost like it's made to be that way. I'm liking it. And hung in a place of prominence for all to enjoy.
Wow.
Finally, just remember, after every woodworking project, you should always count your fingers. You end with 10. Good job. All right, so now all there's left to do is ship to Richard of all trades the chimes that he wanted. And the bell casting form for hanging the chimes. And away